I have a new film coming out called The Five Bloods.
It's about our brothers who fought in the Vietnam War. There have been Vietnam War films that have had African Americans in them. But this is where we're really dealing with the experience of the African American soldiers in Vietnam. African Americans were 10% of the United States population. But at the height of the Vietnam War, they made up 1/3 of the fighting force.
The one thing about Spike, he's a serious posterphile. You know, when you go to 40 Acres, he's got like a gazillion one-off super rare posters. So the posters for his films, he's serious about them. For this project, we showed him all the classic Vietnam posters. And he kept saying, that's not Vietnam, that's not Vietnam. There was one thing that he said that triggered everything. And that was, you're not giving me the black experience in Vietnam. And then I realized there was no black experience Vietnam poster because there really hadn't been a black experience Vietnam film. So then I was like, okay, who was doing work back then that's represented the black experience? And then I remember seeing Emory Douglas's work. Emory Douglas contributed to the first issue of the Black Panther newspaper when he was only 21 years old. And think about that. At that young age, he was helping shape the political and cultural views of everyone who read this paper. One of his pieces was of the soldier crying, and within his helmet were all these images of what was going on back home. And that's when the light bulb went off. It would be amazing if you could get Emory Douglas to help us out with this poster. So I sent it to Spike.
And I said, you know what?
We gotta find Emory. I don't know where he is, but we gotta find him.
I'm just sitting right here on the street.
Please bless us with how did you become the hookup with the Black Panthers?
People who were trying to bring Sister Betty Shabazz to the area to honor her. They wanted me to come and do the poster for that event. When I went to the meeting, they said that there were some brothers coming over who may do security.
Uh-oh.
So when they came over to the next meeting, it was Huey, Bobby Seale, and I think little Bobby Hutton. After that meeting, I knew that's what I wanted to do, so I asked them how could I join. This is before they had headquarters, notoriety, none of that. Huey said, we're gonna start the paper and we want you to be the revolutionary artist. Well, eventually you'll become the Minister of Culture. He had a whole vision to be able to tell our story from our perspective.
Minister of Culture! Still today.
What began as a 4-page call to action grew into an international readership of almost 500,000.
We used to go to the printer to make sure everything was there. Stuff was missing from time to time. Mm-hmm. They were letting the FBI come in and read the paper before it was being printed.
Hoover!
Yes.
Jagger! Shenanigans.
Yes.
Skullduggery.
Yes.
Subterfuge.
Absolutely, yes. Because the paper was a powerful tool.
I know. If it wasn't powerful, they wouldn't be doing that.
Yes.
Literally, he was creating black artistic identity and iconography that you can still see, like right now.
We knew they wasn't going to read the long, drawn-out articles, so we had pictures with captions and headlines with under photographs so they could get the gist of the story. The paper spoke a language that they could understand.
When you do work like that and it hits the masses, it's basically what any designer could ever ask for. But the people that it represents are the ones who really benefit from it. For the people, it's like, yes, you're saying what I wanted to say, but didn't really know how to say it, and you're expressing it visually. And, you know, forget about the social media of today. We're talking about ink on a newspaper, you know, delivered directly into the hands of the people.
We reworked the image from this. Mm-hmm. We have Chadwick Boseman and the 4 Bloods. Mm-hmm. The Bloods are Delroy Lindo, mm-hmm. Clark Peters, mm-hmm. Norman Lewis, mm-hmm. and Isaiah Whitlock. Right now, they kind of get lost. Could we put the 4 of them in the helmet too?
Yeah, we can mix them, blow them up.
Yeah.
Because it's about them.
Yeah.
In that context.
Yeah. September 29th, 1969. Mm-hmm. I mean, America's in turmoil. Kent State, Jackson State, you had the war, Vietnam War at home.
It was really important that the poster was able to really capture the conflict that was happening in the country at that time. There was duality to this black soldier experience.
You my opposing on equality, and you want me to go somewhere and fight, but you won't even stand up for me here at home.
As we all know, African American soldiers called themselves Bloods. One of my favorite scenes in the film is when the Bloods find out that Dr. King had been assassinated. The story never really got out, but them black soldiers get ready to go off.
That same frustration was everywhere. It was pretty intense. I mean, there was a lot of battles that went on. Young people being murdered and being justified. There was high levels of frustration. So when the Panthers came on the scene in Sacramento, we had people call in and say, we want to join the Panthers.
What happened in Sacramento?
They got this right-wing assemblyman to change the local gun ordinances because the Panthers were patrolling the community.
So it ain't like no black folks were walking around with guns.
So they wanted to change that. We went there to observe the legislation.
The Black Panther Party for Self-Defense calls upon the American people to take careful note of the racist California legislation aimed at keeping the black people disarmed and powerless. At the very same time, racist police agencies throughout the country are intensifying the terror, brutality, murder, and repression of black people.
We enter the chambers, the first thing they say is, get the guns out of here. And this white postman come by on his motorcycle and you see all these black people with these guns. Then you got them coming down on us from everywhere. I did about 4 weeks in jail. Little Bobby Hutton, I think, did about 3 months because he was a juvenile. She get more time as a juvenile than you was an adult.
What?
If you could imagine working for the Black Panther Press, you are naturally high up on the FBI's list, not to mention the police. So you're constantly facing dangerous situations and incarceration. That's what Emery was doing. He was making these iconic pieces that was actually putting his life in danger.
We're in West Oakland, the Fermi Park, known as Little Bobby Hutton Park, who was the first Panther murdered by the Oakland police.
How old was he when he got murdered?
He was 17 years old.
17, huh?
We were coming to set up for a picnic. They firebombed the house, gassed it, and got out to the car. Everything pushed him and shoved him, and that's when they opened up and shot him over 19 times. Marlon Brando, he spoke at the funeral, said it could have been his son.
Brando, you saw him?
Yeah, he stayed with us for a week or two.
I haven't suffered the way you've suffered. I'm just beginning to learn the nature of that experience. And somehow that has to be translated to the white community now. Time's running out for everybody.
The police are there in our community not to promote our welfare or for our safety, but they're there to contain us, to murder us.
When the Vietnam veterans came back and began to join the Black Panther Party, they had the skills and the abilities, so they were given the green light to develop and help train young people in the organizations for self-defense.
The whole black nation has to be put together as a black army. We come for what's ours.
Your work has stood the test of time.
I always talk about it in the context of it was bigger than myself. Not a me art, but a we art. It was a reflection of the politics and all things we're about.
Please.
Yes, sir.
Sign this for me.
To Brother Spike Lee, the keeper of our history, peace and respect, Emery Douglas.
One of the great things about Spike is he will always push you. And I really think that him pushing us led us to Emery. Wanting to be true, wanting to be authentic to that time, brought on this sort of historic stage of him and Emery, two artists meeting each other. I don't think it could have happened any other way.
Now, looking forward, we are today, 2020. Where are we as a people?
We've been divided and conquered in many ways. Today, they would call us terrorists, as opposed to freedom fighters. As much as there may be some progress made.
Are you hopeful?
I'm always hopeful. I'm hopeful, yes. It may not happen overnight, may not happen in my lifetime, but you know, it's gonna happen.